Hello, Iditarod Nation. To my
kitchen. Iditarod Nation. Iditarod Nation.
welcome to my kitchen.
Do you like my hat?
I do not like your hat.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Go, dog, go.
If you know the book, you know the book. Dr. Seuss. It looks familiar.
No, it's yours that you never wear all of your Iditarod hats for some reason.
Right.
But I decided it would be like dressed like a musher day or something. So
there you go.
I have my Iditarod hat and I have holes in my armpits.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. That's perfect.
Okay, ready?
Hello, Iditarod Nation. Day 4 of the Iditarod in our kitchen. All right.
Still in our kitchen.
Still in our kitchen. Where else would we be?
But tonight we decided to do things a little differently.
We did.
Mm-hmm. We're recording, and then you're going to go take care of dogs.
Yes.
So
and then it can be uploaded tonight.
So I can edit, and we can maybe upload tonight.
Yes. Very exciting.
There's a lot going on right now.
There's a lot going on right now. Crazy stuff.
Well, let's just start with the most recent.
Yes.
Dallas Seavey, 2-hour penalty. What's going on?
Well, let's first point out a different situation. So, for those of you who don't know out there, we have a brand new sheriff in town.
Race marshal.
Warren Palfrey is our new race marshal. He took over the position for Mark Nordman. I can talk from experience here. Warren Palfrey is a stickler, man, and I last year got a hour time penalty for getting my cooker in Shagtulik. It was the first ever time penalty given for mandatory gear left behind. You know, in some ways it's refreshing to see penalties being enforced, someone being assertive with it. In some ways it's scary. But I'm not going to give my opinion on whether or not this was right. But let's look at the facts, and let's see where they made their judgment call, how they made it, why they made it.
All right.
Well, and we can go from there.
Okay. So to start, Dallas was 14 miles out of Squintina, right?
But approximately 14 miles out of Squintina when he bumped into this moose and bumped it off.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then spent 10 minutes at the scene.
Yes.
And by tracker, I'm guessing, tracker history,
yep,
they reported that he continued up trail about 11 miles.
11 miles, yep.
And camped for about 3 hours.
Yes. And then continued on into Finger Lake where he offloaded his injured dog. Yeah. So this is a tough one, okay? This is a tough one. He could have, this is my opinion on this part, is Dallas Seavey is a really good guy and a really good dog guy. And he cares a lot about his animals. We know that. We've seen that.
And he's smart as heck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, unfortunately, though, him camping up the trail takes away the argument that he was rushing the dog to a vet, I think. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm not saying that Dallas was ignoring a critical dog.
Yeah,
he most likely didn't know that the dog was critical. It had a couple small gashes from what I heard, but probably something internal that he had no knowledge of.
Or that just progressed.
Exactly.
Through the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, I mean, speaking as a vet tech, that's entirely possible, and that's entirely common when animals have any sort of bleeding internally, that at first glance, and it could be slow. Could be a slow bleeder in there where it takes hours to notice that a dog is declining, and then it goes fast.
And with these dogs, especially on the gang line or something, a dog could have something happen like that and be screaming and barking to go out of adrenaline and make it even less noticeable.
Right.
And I'm sure Dallas loaded the dog right away, knowing Dallas and his love for hauling dogs. I'm sure he loaded the dog right away, but it might not have presented as a dog that needed a critical care condition. Point being is that the argument for Dallas putting the dog ahead of gutting the moose in the terms that he rushed to a vet, that argument is a really hard argument to sell when he camped on the way to the vet and didn't turn around and go back. So it's a tough one, and I think that's where they made their judgment call, was right there.
But I'm confused. Did he improperly take care of this moose? Like, why?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know exact, and we're just going off information that we have. We don't know if he cut it open and just left it cut open, if he moved the guts out a little bit, or if he just bled it out. And
we don't know. Yeah, we have really no insider information on this.
On that,
we're just going off of what the press releases.
Yep.
And what we've seen from his social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got the time penalty. It said for improperly.
Well, it was improperly dressing the moose,
yes.
or I can't remember the exact word. If you listen to the situation, he was in a really bad spot around a tight corner. Maybe he was worried about causing problems with other dog teams, stuff like that. But, other dog teams are not allowed to pass you until the moose situation is figured out and fixed. So
if someone can't do the job,
right,
if another team comes up,
they have to help.
Yes. Take care of
and you could have 10 people there doing it, 20 people there doing it, whatever it takes. So this is a very unfortunate situation for Dallas. And
he's had a tough year.
A very tough year.
And
yes.
Yeah, it's really time penalties are no fun, especially
right now when you're in a close race. Yes. But I'm not going to put my opinion on whether or not Iditarod was right and wrong, but I do see where they're coming from. And I do see where Dallas was coming from. And I guarantee you right now, Dallas is out there thinking about this. And he's mulling it over in his head, and we're going to find out more when he reaches cripple. I'm sure this is going to be talked about on an insider interview.
Maybe.
Possibly, most likely. It'll be interesting to hear Dallas's side of the story, get more information on the situation. Like I said earlier, this is just information from a press release. We don't have a lot of information. So,
how does this affect the front end? How does this affect
the outcome of the race?
We can't really say that, but how does this affect teams coming off the 24? How does this gives Travis
room to breathe?
A lot of room. Not a lot of room, but room to breathe.
Yes. It gives him quite a bit of room to breathe, but you still got to be careful. And there's one thing about Dallas Seavey, he's going to continue trying either way. And he still has a chance either way.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, I can't quote this for 100%, but I'm sure that he's won the Iditarod by more than 2 hours, more than once. So.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be during that 24 thinking of
how to cut 2 hours out of his original plan.
And he can do it.
Absolutely. Cut 10 minutes here and there, and pretty quick you've gained 2 hours. So.
And, this is a little bit of a buffer for Travis and others, but who the heck knows what the trail is going to be like? Well,
this is a buffer assuming that Dallas Seavey's winning the Iditarod and that's who you're racing against. But there's still a lot of super competitive teams in the race. Travis, Ryan are both leading the race, and Jesse Holmes is not very far behind that. Pete Kaiser, Matt Hall, they're right there in the mix, ready to give a good push up towards the front at some point. So it's definitely not all based around Dallas Seavey winning the Iditarod, but you just usually assume that that's who you're racing against. I think in the last years here anyway. So I mean, it definitely gives them a little breathing room, but not enough. But they still have to look at the other teams, the other mushers, and there's a lot of really capable guys up there that could take over. So they have breathing room from Dallas Seavey, but not from each other. But again, Dallas, this might give them drive. This might give them motivation to be like, hey, I might be the first musher ever in the Iditarod to get a 2 hour time penalty and win.
So that's not happened before.
That's not happened in the Iditarod that I know of. I know that Bill Cotter 1 year won the Quest. I think after either a 1 or 2 hour time penalty, he came back and won the Quest still. So it is definitely doable, especially in a 1,000-mile race.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%. Now, most likely, if Dallas did win this year, he wouldn't be setting a record due to this time penalty, but he still has an opportunity to pull it off. 100%. But awesome for those guys that get a little breathing room, I guess. But you better watch your backs because he's coming. I have to add one more thing on that. There's a lot of mushers out there, including myself maybe, that would get this time penalty and just start racing for top 10, top 15. But I don't think that's Dallas Seavey's mentality. I think his mentality is, watch me go.
Yeah. I mean, he said that after his snow machine accidents on the Denali Highway, that it's just fuel for getting a win.
Right. So, again, watch your backs. Here you go. He'll still be coming. So, but anyways, coming off the 24.
Yeah, let's talk about these teams.
Yes.
Let's talk about Travis.
Travis he's leading it by a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some calculations as teams start rolling off their 24.
Yeah.
Just to see now, after the 24, it's an even race.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to really assess times more accurately.
Jesse Holmes was leading by a few hours, but he pulled over and Travis blew through McGrath, or Jesse Holmes pulled over McGrath and Travis blew through McGrath, putting him up into that lead position. And Jesse stayed for a few hours there, I think. So that gave Travis probably close to a 2-hour lead over Jesse.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jesse really quick.
Okay.
We alluded last night that the stop in McGrath did not seem like it was planned. Mm-mm. Do you still stand by that?
I still stand by that. I think the question there is, was Jesse making a call that the trail conditions were not good enough for him to make his normal move?
And what would his normal move be?
I believe that his normal move would have been what Matt Hall did, which would have been go 15 miles or so outside of Nikolai and then go straight to Ophir. So he would have been to Ophir in 2 runs from his last camp before Nikolai.
And instead he stopped at McGrath.
Yes, he stopped only 6 miles out of Nikolai and then went to McGrath only 49 miles later, which I did not think would have been something that he planned from the beginning. I know that, at least from the past, Jesse seemed like he wanted to get out in front and be out in front. But did he make this call because trail conditions? Did he make this call because he realized he was pushing too hard? Did he make this call because he'd already pushed too hard? There's a lot of questions there. We're going to find out soon. Mm-hmm. If he's on rebuild mode when he comes out of his 24, he'll take a break halfway to Cripple and longer break and then a longer break in Cripple and probably start getting with it again after Ruby. Right. If he did this based on trail conditions, then we'll see him just start pumping right out of his 24 and racing again.
Okay, let's see.
Yep.
One thing with Travis is we heard that he wasn't feeling well.
He's not feeling well.
And that seems to be a thing. I would say that your best dog teams out there, you were either sick or hurt.
Yep.
It's funny. And I think a lot of, and I've seen this with a lot of other teams, it seems like if you're driving your best team, it's compensating with you. You aren't, it just seems like you both aren't having that magic carpet ride.
Yeah, that's a rare scenario when the musher and dog team have magic carpet ride. So
hoping he can get over what he's got going on because that's miserable. But like you said, you can be miserable out on the trail. Just hang on and
it's better to be miserable on the back of your sled than it is to be laying in a checkpoint wishing you were on the back of your sled. So
you're right, and
get up and get with it, big guy.
Like you said on day one, let the dog team drive you.
Yes,
and Travis is leaving his 24 with a full team of dogs.
That's insane.
And they came into that checkpoint.
Looked awesome. Yeah.
So he feeling a bit under the weather, has a dog team where he could probably just let them do their thing.
Yep, absolutely.
So good for him.
Yep.
Ryan
Reddington, right there with him, not too far back. But they're first and second place as far as time goes, seems like, depending on how long it takes them to get to Cripple. But especially with the 2-hour time penalty, I would think that they'll be leaving Cripple in first and second if they've managed properly to this point.
And I've got my OG stump jumping kennel.
Yeah, Kinnick, Alaska.
Yeah, and there's 2 Kinnick teams
leading the race.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they train within their kennels are in Kinnick there are within about a half a mile of each other. So must be some good dog training in Kinnick, Alaska.
Must be something in the water there.
Must be something in the water there. With that being said, Hunter Keefe is another Kinnick kid racing there out of Ramey Reddington's kennel, Ryan's dad's kennel. And he's right in there and doing really well. So there's 3 Kinnick teams right in the mix. Pretty exciting for Kinnick.
Pete, let's...
Yeah. Pete can't count Pete out.
Never.
He's right there.
Yep.
He has a strong dog team always. They looked really good coming into Takatna. And
he knows how to win this race. So
he does. He knows how to race it. He was close last year. He won it in 2020 maybe or something like that. 2018, one of the 2.
Yep. And he knows how to strike. So
yep.
Yeah, when you say watch your backs, he's one of them.
Yeah, he's coming. And Matt Hall as well. Last year Matt Hall was in 14th place in Caltag and ended up 4th. So that's a dog team that
he's learning too.
It's a dog team you got to watch out for. I think he knew. He's just back in the program. He's got a good dog team again, and he's ready to roar and get up front. So I think he took a couple years off to rebuild. Jesse Holmes, Pete Kaiser, Matt Hall, and Dallas Seavey are going to be chasing a couple of Kinnick teams out of Cripple. Not too far behind them, we have Aaron Burmeister. Seems like he's been playing it conservative and going to be turning on the gas any moment. So we have Aaron Burmeister coming up. Who else we got? Jessie Royer. She's coming up. Can never count her out. She is a force to be reckoned with. Who else do we have? We have the MPs. I was laughing about that. Milla Porcel and Mats Peterson came into Takatna one after the other, and I was writing down initials, and I was like, "We got the MPs."
Great, and then Matt Taylor too.
Matt Taylor, he was kind of back there for a while, playing it conservative as well. Him and Nick Petit both.
He's an offer right now.
Yeah.
With Nick.
Yep, and they both kind of
and Jeff Dieter
made a nice little move. Yep, and made a nice little move, and they're sitting pretty right now, so that's good. Paige Drobny, that's another musher. I've seen her team on the coast very strong, very hyper.
Apparently, she had a heck of a run from the Rats to Takatna.
I heard that.
I'll have to go look at some videos or check the tracker, but I heard it was something to see.
All right, well, we'll have to check that out.
You've had good runs in between there, and that can...
Well, usually I 24 there, so I better have a good run.
Yeah, and you can make up time right there, too.
Yes, absolutely. There's a big hill that you climb for quite a while, going over to Takatna, and if you have a tired dog team getting there, it can be a slog up that hill. And lots of moguls, usually. So, a good run there is very important. So, it's an exciting race. I saw it was snowing in Takatna when Travis and them showed up. I don't know how much snow fell on the ground. That'll be interesting. Could play a role into what happens when they come off of their 24. We've seen teams go to the halfway before first and be a huge mistake, lose a lot of time doing it. We've also seen it happen where they gain a lot of time doing it because they have a good trail out in front. So, yet we're going to see that soon. We're going to see who made the right call on where they 24'd.
this is where the going gets good.
Yeah.
And the good get going.
Now, another report we saw is a whiteout outside of Ruby.
Yes, from a Iditarod Trail Invitational. Was he a skier?
He was
A fat biker?
Fat biker, I think.
So the Iditarod Trail Invitational is a competition between runners, walkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Runners, walkers, feet,
Skiers.
basically feet, skiing.
Yep.
You can travel the trail, Iditarod, Willow to McGrath, so 350 miles.
Yep. That's the finish of the official race.
Mm-hmm. Or they can go all the way to Nome by foot, by ski, by fat tire bike.
Yep.
So the Iditarod Trail Invitational people who are going to Nome, I wanted to say a word of describing these people. Maybe I won't use it, but
they are crazy people.
Crazy, amazing people doing this.
So anyways, they left Ruby. It was a super whiteout storm. They turned around and went back to Ruby to wait it out, which is not like them. So what is this going to do? Is it going to continue this way until the mushers arrive? Are people going to be held up in Ruby? Or is this storm going to blow over, cool off, and the trail harden? Or is it going to fill it in with soft, sugary snow? A lot of questions there.
Yeah,
a lot of possibilities.
Might be throwing her
curveball. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So is that going to be a benefit to be out in front? Or is it going to be better to be back a few teams and let somebody break it out? Hard to say.
Bringing back some PTSD from your
Iditarod.
Iditarod.
Oh, yeah.
These are the calls you have to make. And that's the give and take of being the leader, having the opportunity. You're
risking it.
You're first over the trail, whatever it is.
Yep. But it is what it is, so you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So
we have to mention
a
pretty big
milestone.
Yeah, this seems. I wonder how many years it's been.
This might be a first.
There has been no scratches,
and there's a couple teams on their way to McGrath still. Maybe just one.
No. Oh yeah.
There's one team on his way to McGrath still.
Maybe Josh Rummans. Maybe there's another.
And when he gets there, every single team will be on their 24, and there is no scratches. That is insane. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, that's indicative.
That is so cool.
Of good trail, good dog driving, good dog management, especially with the dog numbers. I'm still impressed.
Oh, geez, it's crazy. I mean, Travis, with all of them, most people have 15 or 14 or 15 dogs. A few.
13 to 16. I saw Anna Barrington dropped. Interesting move by her. She came into McGrath with 13.
Yep.
Dropped 10.
I guarantee she didn't drop 10 with 3.
She was like, heck about that 5 dog minimum. I'm going.
Yeah. She's tough enough
she
to
would
do
do
that.
Too.
Yeah.
She just let him. She just run to Nome.
She could do the ITI for sure. Yep.
Anyways, she had 13 dogs.
Yep.
On the way to McGrath, came into the checkpoint, dropped 3 dogs, left with 10.
Wow. No 24 yet.
No.
Interesting.
A little interesting. You think if she has 3 dogs to drop, that
maybe she knew they wouldn't recover in 24 hours.
The rest of them must have been looking pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but no scratches. Great dog numbers.
Yep.
Way to go.
Yeah, that's great. It's super awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yep. And one thing that I have to note on dog numbers, we've been starting with 14 the last few years. This year was the first year they went back to 16. You have to think about somebody like Anna with 10 dogs. She's already dropped 6. She'd be down to 8 right now. These guys with 13 would be down to 11.
And I was not aware until, I experienced this race with you. And mushers start getting nervous.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
start getting very nervous after 12.
Yeah.
It seems like
I've seen mushers in Koyak, almost to the finish line.
200-ish miles, right? Or
200 miles to go, 300 miles to go to the finish line, and they're worried because they're going to go down to 13 docks.
Or 11, yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah. The year that I scratched in Koyak and I watched every musher go by, it was
you were
not comical, but almost comical.
You were coaching out there.
To see how many people wanted to take dogs just for numbers reasons. And it's like, you only have a couple runs left. Just if you have any question mark at all, just leave it. You know, it's not worth it.
These are people who thought like their race was like, if they dropped legs, they're like, oh, my race is done. Or,
yeah, right. They just didn't know, you know, and a piece of advice to anybody out there watching, drive 6 dogs every once in a while and you'll be shocked at the power and energy that can come out of 5 or 6 dog teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
And what do they always say? Like, your dog team can't perform to their best if their weakest players are still in the squad. And that's across all sports. It's
crazy that so at some points in racing, I have had a dog that's holding back a little bit. It's like, man, this is really slowing me down. I pick the dog up, put it in the sled, and I speed up.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is it? You're only as good as your weakest link.
Yeah. So, you know,
all things.
If you have a question mark, drop it or return it. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm very impressed again with dog numbers. Pretty exciting. Pretty cool to watch, for sure.
Short and sweet update tonight. Teams are resting on the trail. We're getting a rest from the tracker.
Yep. Bunch of mushers are enjoying pies and burgers in Takatna. Mm-hmm. Fruit salad, McGrath, and whatever they packed in Ophir and Cripple.
Hot dogs and potato chips.
Yeah. Probably some candy bars.
And candy bars.
Yes. So, I mean, they've got a little bit of food in Ophir and Cripple. They do pretty good, the volunteers, but a lot of times I leave my food behind for them to eat later on in the race. So, yeah, very exciting, very cool. Enjoy their 20. I hope they all enjoy their 24s, and I hope to see these dogs come out of there cranking.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the 24.
Cheers to the 24. See you tomorrow.
Well, hold on. I need to confirm something really quick. I can edit this. I need to look at the videos. Yesterday. Oh, Jason has a...
Oh, cool.
Okay, Jason. Let's see. McGrath interviews. I'm looking for Takatna. Your Burmeister in Takatna. Okay. Your Burmeister in Takatna. Bailey Vitello.
Mott's. Katie Joe.
Everybody.
Pete.
Everybody but a race leader.
Let's talk about this. Why is the leader of the race hiding from the camera?
Well, he's sick. So that's...
Maybe he's sleeping.
Yeah,
maybe Greg and Bruce don't want to get sick.
Mm-hmm. That might be a good option, or that might be a good reason. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't want him coughing on the camera.
Yeah.
You know?
It would be nice to hear of them talk about him a little bit more.
Maybe he lost his voice and he can't hear him. It's hard to say. They say he hasn't been out there, so there's got to be a reason. There has got to be a reason.
There's got to be a reason why we're not seeing anything with Travis. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the race leader.
He's leading the race.
Imagine, like, the race finishing and being like, we don't have any footage of the race leader?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So.
They'll get it together.
Yeah.
Well, the insider crew.
You know, maybe like I said, maybe they're
Travis is going to lead Kerple, like, with this lead. Like, that's going to be, it's got to be talked about, right?
Right. He should be reaching Ruby in first place, so he'll be getting a dinner. So, I'm excited for Travis to get that dinner. Keep it up, buddy. Go get it. Take your 8. Enjoy some champagne.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I've gotten to enjoy the dinner before with my buddy Nick Petit. And,
you did?
And Jeff King saved me a little bit of champagne one time.
You did? Really?
Oh, yeah.
When? Yeah. What year?
I don't know. Oh, the year I got to eat a little bit of dinner. I don't know. I don't remember.
Are you sure you? So Nick shared his dinner with you?
He gave me a piece of steak, I think it was, one year.
Here, wait. Here's a piece of my leftovers.
Yes. I'll take it.
Yeah, right.
That is a 5-course gourmet meal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wish I was out there to share that with Travis.
Yeah, fun.
But he'll get to share it with Ryan, hopefully.
Yeah, or whoever he picks.
Or Billy Honey or
someone. Yeah.
Some cool person. Mm-hmm. Don't share it with the insiders unless they interview you. All right, cheers again.
Time to go feed some dogs.
Good night.